Today is April 14th, 2025, and the coronavirus has only gotten worse. I don't even know why I'm writing this. It's not like anyone's gonna read it. Everyone I love is dead, and I'm gonna join them soon. So for starters, let me tell you how the world went to shit. Well, all of you know 5 years ago, back in 2020, the coronavirus just spread like wildfire, and everyone in America was put into quarantine. Schools were shut down, restaurants shut down, pretty much every goddamn place in the country was shut down. And as the next few weeks passed, everybody thought it was going to be a-okay. But damn, were they wrong. When Trump announced live on TV that the whole country would be quarantined and that the National Guard would be brought in, that's where all hell broke loose. Rioting and looting soon ensured, and the major cities of the U.S. plunged into chaos. It was every man, woman, and every goddamn person for themselves. New York was the first to fall. The police couldn't stop them, and that's when the National Guard of New York was brought in, and what ensued next was a bloodbath. The rioters and looters tried to fight back, but they were slaughtered, as well as many U.S. troops. And soon, the same kind of thing happened in every other major city of the U.S. Chicago, D.C., Houston, fucking Detroit, you name it. But that was only the beginning. Eventually, the rioting and looting stopped, and everyone thought it was going to get better. But that's when the CDC discovered something about the coronavirus. It was mutating, and it was getting stronger. They named this new strain of the coronavirus X, and they nicknamed it COVID-20, and they soon discovered that millions were infected with it. The coronavirus had somehow evolved, and that's when the people started to turn. They started to turn into something. When they turned, they weren't human anymore, and that's when they mutated as well. People that were infected with this new strain started to transform into monsters. That's the only thing I could think to describe it. They started to transform into hulking, raging beasts. That was only some of them. Some of them were fast, and some of them were just mindless. But they all had one thing in common. They started to consume human flesh. They attacked any human that came into their sight. And that's when everything fell apart. The coronavirus X strain started to spread like wildfire, even more than the original strain. And soon, half the population of the US had it. But there were a select few, ranging in the thousands, that were somehow immune, and they didn't turn. But what happened next can only be described as a nightmare. At this point, it was every person for themselves. People started to congregate into groups. The people that were still alive anyways. I'll tell you, it was like something from out of a fucking zombie movie. But then people, these groups, started to come together and form these factions. And over the next couple of years, these factions started to spread, and soon there were multiple factions all over the country. And eventually, factions started to fight one another, and an entire civil war broke out. Instead of people versus these mutated monsters, it was people versus people. But this is where I come into the story. My family had gotten the coronavirus and the new strain as well, but I was the only one that was immune. I had to watch as my family tried to kill me, and I had to kill my own family. I had to kill my wife and my son. The only weakness for these things is that you have to shoot them in the head, or else they won't die. There is no turning them back. I joined with a faction because I thought that there was nothing left for me, but I was wrong. And I was soon enveloped in the faction wars. I lost count of how many people I murdered. And fuck, I thought it was for a good cause. But after the next few years passed, I stopped. And I left to go on my own. That was a couple of months ago. And shit, well, would you look at that. Here I am, writing this goddamn note. Who am I kidding? Who the fuck will even read this? Well, I do have my gun with me, and I have a few bullets left. I'm contemplating whether to put a bullet in my brain, or to go out fighting, and to go and kill as many of those goddamn things outside that are banging on the door. Because it's not only a matter of if, but a matter of when they get in here. And when they do, they're gonna rip me apart. And to think all this started in some goddamn animal market in fucking Wuhan, China. Well, I guess this is goodbye, and hell, if anyone's reading this, it probably found my corpse by now. Well, anyways, it's time to go and kill as many of these sons of bitches as I possibly can. And to think this all started because of the fucking coronavirus.